welcome to meet the researchers and grant writers at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. This program is designed to share with the larger community the work going on here at the university in the area of research, innovation, and economic development. So today I am quite honored to have Dr. Jesse Walker join me and to share with us some of the great things that he has been doing here at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Welcome, Dr. Walker.
Thank you, Dr. Benjamin.
Dr. Walker, your roots at UAPB are very deep. Talk to me a little bit about your first entry to UAPB and where you are now.
I first entered UAPB in 1995, fresh out of high school, and I majored in computer science. Originally, I was a political science major, and I switched to computer science.
What made you do that?
Interest and employment opportunities.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you switched to computer science, and I interrupted you. Go ahead.
And after completing my undergrad degree here, I went on to the University of Iowa. I got my PhD in computer science, computer information science, excuse me.
And then?
And then I came back here in 2004 and been here ever since.
All right. Well, we're glad you're back. And what exactly is your job title now? And I know you wear many hats.
I am the chair of the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science. And I'm also graduate coordinator for the Computer Science and Industrial Technology Master's Program here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many students, roughly, do you have in that graduate program? And the reason I asked you that, we had Founders Week last week. One of the student presenters at the alumni breakfast indicated that he was going to stay on and major and get a master's degree in computer science and technology. So about how many students do you have currently enrolled in that program?
Right now, Dr. Benjamin, we have 23 students, graduate students, and they come from all over the world. It's one of the largest programs here at UAPB, and it's also the only STEM graduate program we have at UAPB. Very proud of that.
That's great, and you played such a major role in getting that here. Dr. Walker, you are noted for being an outstanding grant writer. You've gotten several major grants funded. Could you tell me, if you can, which one has meant the most to you? And they all mean a lot to this university, but which one would you just hold up as an example of a great grant that made wonderful differences here at this campus in terms of the curriculum, the students, the employment possibilities?
Well, I know I'd take a couple of those. The recent one we had from Department of Education is redesigning the math program here. And I'm very excited about that because it basically takes the notion of math and makes it a personal experience for students. It gives them digital artifacts and digital portfolios in mathematics. So it's a change in how we do mathematics on the education side. One of my research grants I'm very proud of is my cybersecurity grant. We are one of the few schools in the state that have a minor in cybersecurity built into computer science and now built into mathematics. And it's a flourishing program. And a lot of the students have really gone on to do great things. We have students with the Department of Defense, the CIA, FBI, and it has impacted so many students' lives. So I'm very proud of that.
Very good, very good. Well, Dr. Walker, I had the pleasure of seeing you inducted into the Arkansas Research Alliance program as a fellow. That is such an honor for you, but it is also an honor for this university. Tell me what it's like to be a fellow of that stature.
Dr. Benjamin, it was an amazing experience. I got a chance to meet Governor Asa Hutchinson. And I remember the whole idea of becoming a scholar or a researcher was something that was totally foreign to me when I was in undergrad. And then when I came a PhD, it was something that you develop over time. But to be recognized by your peers and the community at large and say, this guy did such great work, we're going to give him a title and recognize him at the state level. That really was an amazing experience for me, something, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, especially being a native son from Arkansas.
That's true, and I do want you to point that out. Where is your home?
Arkansas. I'm from North Little Rock, Arkansas.
North Little Rock, Arkansas. And back here as an outstanding researcher and scholar on our campus, noted by the state for that type skill. It is really quite an honor. Yes. So I also know that with that honor, you also got a stipend, a nice stipend. What are you planning to do with that?
We are currently exploring neuro cybersecurity. And this is basically connecting cybersecurity to your behavioral patterns. And we map those patterns on certain devices, like my Fitbit here, like your heart rate goes up when you're lying, for example. I can tell when you're going to hack something, maybe. So we're in the early stages of deploying that in the cybersecurity research lab located in Walker Research.
All right. So you have a lab over there?
Yes.
What sort of equipment do you have in that lab?
That's one of my true pleasures and true joys working at UAPB. This lab was funded by Department of Defense, Homeland Security, National Science Foundation, a lot of funding sources. We have our own internet connection, separate IP addressing from the university, so we can perform lots of unique cybersecurity attacks. And it's been recognized by the National Science Foundation and recent Clemson Computing Center because it's deploying a unique type of cloud computing attack that's not found anywhere else in the country.
All right. So how many undergraduates do you have taking advantage of all of this knowledge?
So currently we employ about 5 undergraduates and maybe 8 graduate students over there. We also have recently deployed a Science DMZ research lab in, ACD2, Kane Gillian Hall. And it's really exciting for us because it's taking the notion of cyber infrastructure for UAPB to a whole different level. Because it means, for example, right now, as far as Science DMZ, that's a specialized network just for research traffic on the network.
And I like that.
Yeah. And so it's only 2 schools in the state that would have that, Fayetteville and UAPB. And ours has been deployed since February. And I'm sure most people on campus have noticed an uptick in the internet speed, but researchers will be able to transmit large data sets. I'm talking about gigabytes, terabytes, no problem.
Very good. Now, you have a supercomputer over there?
Yes. We're one of the few HBCUs in the country. We're only 10 HBCUs in the country that have supercomputers on campus, and we're one of those campuses. The project was funded by the Department of Defense with Air Force, and it's an amazing evolution for the campus because not anymore would a researcher say go to Fayetteville or Arkansas State to do high-performance computing research. They do it right here at UAPB.
That is really outstanding. We're going to take a little break, and then we'll come back and talk about additional research, the impact of what you are doing in terms of the economy, in terms of the knowledge base, and a few other important facts. So we'll be right back. Dr. Walker, we were just having a very engaging conversation about you and your work here at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. I want to sort of double back a little bit and ask you, what motivated you to get into computer science? Now, you mentioned a job possibility and all, but it's got to be more than that, considering the energy that you put into it. What is it about this whole computer area that intrigues you and is just fascinating to you?
When I was a student here, when I first came to visit the campus, I met John Gilmore,
Okay.
who was chair of math and computer science at the time. When I met him, it was an amazing experience. I had never met an African American that intelligent before.
Oh my
and,
gosh.
and,
Okay.
and especially versed in his discipline. And so when I got out of graduate school, I had to come to a crossroads in my life. Do I want to go into industry or do I want to work in a nice educational environment? And once you decide to go the education route, academia, you have to decide what kind of school you want to work at.
Right.
And one thing about UAPB, the need was so great. And you can make money anywhere. You can, find things that are fun and stuff like that, but you don't get a chance to change lives like you do here. And that's a rare opportunity. That's something that no amount of money will ever equal to. Taking a young man or young lady who first generation college student, exposing them to something totally outside of their realm of understanding, and then seeing them a couple years later employed with some of the major employers in this country and changing lives.
I have been impressed with the employment options and the quick access to employment that our graduates get. And it's not just here in Arkansas, but it's really all across the country. I wanted to talk about your student. Tell me a little bit about the composition of your student population. Where are they coming from?
Well, our program has grown so much in the last 5 years or so. We've become very international. The word has got out about computer science here at UAPB, and we have students from Bangladesh, India, Brazil, Venezuela, Panama, where else? Got a student from Colombia this semester, California. Pretty much you name a state, we got a student from there or coming through here in all countries in Africa. And it's just truly amazing how much, when you compare this school, the cost, the exposure you get, just the internships and the curriculum, as far as the innovative and how unique it is compared to everywhere else in the state. Students want to come here, and it's just been amazing for us.
So they find us. We don't have to go out and do a lot of recruiting?
No. Honestly, one of the things about computer science especially, you have students every semester, like this semester, I have 20-some applications just for the graduate program. And now, of that 20, about 15 are domestic. The other 5 are international. And I have another 5 international over with Miss Awasio there in admissions. So it'd about equal out, but that's a nice little group of students applying to a graduate program.
Well, I wanted to share something with you, and maybe you already know this. We are joining with Walmart in a program that's called A Million Mentors for Girls in STEM. So I wanted to come back and ask you, of your students, what's your ratio of males to females in your program?
So that's something we have struggled with, like all computer science programs. We're trying to recruit young ladies into computer science, but this fall we're deploying Black Girls Can Code as a way to reach out to young ladies. And we're one of the few programs that sponsor trips, international trips for young ladies in computer science and domestic trips. So when you compare like the opportunities for diversity in computer science, our program does not compare to anyone else in the state. It's just amazing.
Okay. So what is that program that you named you're working with?
Black Girls Can Code.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that.
So
who sponsors that?
It's a program that came out of California, particularly Oakland, California. A group of people from Google, Apple, Amazon got together and said, okay, how can we engage young ladies, particularly young ladies of color, in computer science? And so it's been sweeping the nation with a lot of different schools, particularly big schools. We'll be the only school in the state to offer that to young ladies. So basically we'll take K-12 girls and computer science girls and kind of build a one-on-one mentorship between the girls in computer science here and get the girls in the K-12 community exposed to computer science and maybe see it as an option for careers.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And we can tie that in with the 1 Million Mentors program for girls in STEM.
And one of the other things we've been working with also here is the Ivy Center, for example. And this is with the Jefferson County Workforce Alliance. And I'm really proud that in a sense we have a collection of students from all the districts here, including Whitehall. And so students come there for tutoring and mentoring, but we have students from computer science, some from math going there offering tutoring and training. But
that's great.
But expose them to STEM here in Jefferson County. Because one of the things I believe, especially, you start from where you are, not from where you want to be. So you have to start the students and say, okay, here in the community, what do you see that ties in to what you want to do? And a lot of companies are willing to say, you know what, come on in and see what we do every day. Maybe get an internship, maybe just get exposure, maybe just volunteer or something like that. And so we try to make that connection, especially with the local community.
That is really great. Now let's go to the future. You talked a lot about what you have. What do you see for UAPB, computer science, your grants and all in the next 5 years?
One of the things I'm really excited about is the direction we're going with big data as far as math and computer science. We became one department about 2 years ago, math and computer science. And we got into big data. And so when you look across the state or even across the nation, it's not many HBCUs that even go into this realm. I know Jackson State just started a PhD program in big data, but there are very few undergraduate programs in that and master's programs. And that's kind of where our gap is, so to speak, because big data brings in the math skill sets and then also the computer science with respect to the hardware and the programming and stuff like that. And hopefully in 5 to 10 years, we will be a big data center, a hub for the Jefferson County, for Arkansas, but also for the nation.
That is really, really fantastic. Now, I noticed when I come over into your building, one of your buildings, because you are in about 3 different locations here on this campus, I see lots of students around coming and going. Are all of those students on assistantships, or are they just there because they like the environment? What goes on in the Walker Research Center?
We have quite a few students that, I call it kind of a hangout spot. Okay. A lot of times students come in and they want to be in the environment where they're exposed to research.
That's great.
They get a chance to meet people actually doing and making changes in the world. Because a lot of undergraduates, we have several undergraduates that publish papers, a lot of undergrads who go to international conferences as well as domestic conferences. So a lot of students see that on campus, whether they're computer science or not, and they say, what are you guys doing? How can I be involved? And I know my colleague, Dr. Walker, has reached out to biology because we have a bioinformatics program now, a minor in bioinformatics. And we're trying to get those students more engaged in the hands-on, tangible experience of research. And it's been, I will say this, that exposure for undergraduates has changed. You mentioned a young man from the alumni luncheon. That exposure has changed a lot of students' definition of what is research. A lot of students thought in their mind, like I did in undergrad, oh, you have to go out and do this, become a PhD or something like that. Research has a tangible impact on daily lives. And a lot of students see that now. They see someone like them, similar to their background, doing that research, making a difference, not just in the community, but in the world as a whole.
My last question to you is, what do you see as the impact of your research, your academic programs on the economy, on the curriculum, and also on the knowledge base? What are we contributing to the knowledge base?
Well, one of the things I love about our program here is when you start looking at employability of students, we have a 98% placement rate in computer science.
It is really outstanding. I've seen your data.
As far as undergrad, graduate, they get a job when they graduate from here. Now, when you look at that as far as a student spending time, money for a degree, and the return on investment, you can't beat it. You really can't beat it. As far as the curriculum, for example, the master's program I mentioned before when we were talking, it's one of only 2 professional master's programs in the state of Arkansas. That means if the program completes in 1 year, fall, spring, summer, and you're done. So when you're talking about turnaround and investment right there for the students in the curriculum and stuff, it's a direct connection. The students see the practical, workforce-ready skills they're getting at the undergraduate and graduate level. So I think it helps Arkansas a lot in that. The knowledge base as a whole, I think we're diversifying it. When you look at
and that's so important.
When you look at computer science and even math now, you start to see a lot of diversity that you did not see before, especially with skill sets, backgrounds, and one similar to myself, a student comes in the first generation college student, walks out the door with a college degree in a field like computer science, let's say focusing on something like cybersecurity, for example, that changes the whole discussion a lot of times at organizations, in many companies about who is at the table and what they're talking about. So the knowledge base, I think, has increased significantly.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing your information. And I'm sure someone would like to have more in-depth conversation with you. So would you please give us a contact number?
I can be reached at area code 870-575-8774.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Enjoy it.
Thank you.